Yo, 2012 Infiniti G37x. This lady came in and said her brake pedal feels funny. I'm like, I don't feel anything. She says, oh, check my brakes. I'm like, you're down to 4 millimeters. You can still go for a while. Since it's there, just do them. So, okay, who's to argue? Gee, I never knew I was such a good salesman. Anyways, I'm going to do all pads and rotors and brake flush to this car. This is kind of unorthodox for me too, because this isn't a rusty old piece of crap. It's actually a really nice car, so I don't have to do any flaky things with the rust. So under the hood, in front of the driver's side, there's a cover that says brake fluid. There's two little tabs you push in and that cover comes off, and here's a master cylinder right here. Take the cap off of that, and there's a little screen thing in here I got to take off, because I'm going to get my super sucker and I'm going to suck out as much of that fluid as I can. If you're going to do a brake flush on these and you don't have a super sucker like this, you can always use your wife's turkey baster. She'd love you for that. I emptied out the rear reservoir. The front still got some in it. I'm going to try to get that out with something else. I'm going to stick a smaller hose on here. A hose in the hose. Try to stick it in the little hole in here. Oh yeah, that fits. I got it all. You don't want to get any brake fluid on the pretty paint either. It'll wreck your paint. Wipe it off with water right away if you do. Now I'm going to stick a nice fresh 32-ounce bottle of brake fluid in the hole. And it should just be okay, just like that. It won't leak out or anything. And I'll be able to bleed the brakes out with the bottle in it. Now before I go taking the calipers off, I'm going to try to get as much brake fluid out of these calipers as I possibly can. And I got to get this cap off of here. It's stuck. 10 millimeter on here. I'm going to use my brake bleeder for this too. I'm not going to turn it on or anything. I'm just doing that so I got a place to put the fluid. I can open this up and it should start dripping out. Yep, there it goes. Drippy, drippy. And I'm going to put a screwdriver in here. I'm going to pull this caliper in. That'll move these pistons in. I'm going to go real slow because I don't want any of this fluid going back up into the master cylinder. It should all just come right out the line into my reservoir. I'm going to try to pull these calipers in as much as I possibly can. Looks like I just about got them already. Oh no, there we go. I'm going in between the pad now. Yeah, this is a dual piston caliper too, so there's two of them, and I'm just kind of working them both. There, I got that one, so I can close this line up. I'm going to do that to all four corners. Okay, I did both the fronts. I don't think the rears are going to be much different. This one's an 8 millimeter instead of a 10 like the front. I think I need a smaller screwdriver. Oh, messy. Oh, end of the world. Pad's a little stuck. There it goes. Maybe I'll try to just pull in the piston by itself. Yeah, I got it. It's all the way. Do the same to the other side. Now that I unloaded the rear calipers, I'm going to bleed out the rears first while I do the front brakes. So I just opened up these bleeders and I just put a hose in there and I'm just running it right down in a pan. I'm just going to let it gravity bleed until it gets nice, clean, clear fluid. These calipers are 14 millimeter. I'm going to try to hang this so it's not sitting on the brake hose. That's pretty nice, just a bungee cord. Yeah, these pads move really nice. That's a plus. Special. Slides move nice. These caliper support brackets are huge. 22 millimeter. Oh, I need some air. Now there's two ways of getting this rotor off. Option A is a big damn hammer. And option B is a 8 by 125 millimeter bolt. It'd be a little bit crusty back here. Get the scale off of here. Make sure there's no high spots. Clean the rotor. I'm going to use Windex, a little glass cleaner, just to get the grease off of it. I just got to make sure the rag didn't leave any fuzz on the rotor, because if there's fuzz on the rotor, it can make the pad noisy. And of course, I just wipe everything on my shirt because I'm a dirty mechanic. On goes the rotor. Gonna want to make sure there's no rust left on here. If there's any heavy scale, I want to get it all off. So I'm just gonna hit it with a file real quick. Amazing enough. This side looks really good. I got some brake caliper grease. Usually with pads, you'll get a little packet of this black junk, or sometimes it's different colors. But usually it comes with brake pads. You want to put some on the mating surface here. And you want to put some on the pistons too. These pins still got the factory lubricant in them, and they look really good. Yeah, those are really nice. I'm just going to put these back in and push them all the way in and pinch this boot a little and give them a little burp. Make sure all the air's pushed out of them. They feel really nice. And I got to get these abutment clips off because I got new ones with the pads. I want to put them in the right spot too, because one of them's got little spreaders in them and the other ones don't. I just want to clean these up, and they're really clean. They look great. Don't want any rust on here. Because any high spots of rust will make your pads stick. That one's got the little spreaders on it, and this one doesn't. So you got to take in this little hole right here. You got to put that in the spreader. Try to push these in. This side's got a little keeper in it in the abutment clip that keeps the pad from falling out. See, it's kind of springy, so it tries to push it back. And these slide really nice. You don't want them to bind up at all, so that's really good. That's just what I want. Yep, holds it all in like awesome. The fluid on both of my rears is super clean. So I'm going to close these bleeders up. And the rears will be bled out. If you were to use a torque wrench on these, I'm hearing that these bolts are 91 foot-pounds. That's what some people say. Don't quote me on any of this. I got a guess on these too. If you want to use a torque wrench, I think they're right around 16 to 24 foot-pounds. Somewhere around there. I don't know. I do them by hand. And that side's done. You just got to make sure these springs are in, because if they're out, they'll be popped out from the pad, and a lot of times these hit the rotor and they make a god-awful noise. Just make sure the caliper moves really nice, and I can see the pads moving. Do the same to the other side. Break out the 10 millimeter and do the fronts next. I'm going to let these bleed out while I do the rears. These fronts gravity bled out with a quickness. They're all done. Now for the rear brakes. Little sticky feeling. These are 14 millimeter. And they're really tight. Wow. That's like, I'm gonna beat these with a hammer. Okay. These boots are turning. I want to make sure they don't. I just held on to them. No, they don't turn anymore. This one might be a problem. There's a lower arm in my way. I don't think it's going to come out unless I take the caliper support bracket off. Yeah, it don't come out. These caliper support brackets are 19 millimeter. I got the bottom bolt out for the caliper support bracket so I can turn this up and get this out. Flop the caliper out of the way. Best not to leave it hang. I don't see any fancy screw, so I gotta whack it. For whatever reason, I got one wear indicator on one pad, which is really odd. And this wear indicator actually goes on the passenger side, so I won't use one on this side. Stick these in, make sure they slide really nice, and they're beautiful. There's a little bit of rust on the sealing surface on these pins. Not a whole lot of grease on them either, so I'm going to clean those up a little bit on a wire wheel. I clean those up really nice. Slather some silicone paste or dielectric grease on here. See, that'll seal really nice on these boots now. Can't say I've ever seen a rotor do this. Brand new rotor. It's got some funky, flaky chunks of machine work in here. Don't want these leftovers running through here after I do a brake job. Holy crap. That was not cool at all. There's a little rubber thing I had to take out of the old rotor. I'm going to put that one back in this one. Put that top bolt in. Apparently these rear calipers get torqued to 62 foot-pounds if you got a torque wrench. Don't go quoting me on that one either. I can't find the torque specs on these top bolts. I would imagine they're right about 40 foot-pounds. I could be wrong though, so don't quote me on that either. Make sure they slide really nice. Make sure these boots are pushed into the pins. They're sealed really nice. Make sure the pads move, and they do. That's all good. Do the same thing to the other side. I have the tires back on it. Got the brake fluid. I can take this out. Oops, I made a little mess. Better wipe all this jazz up and put this filter back in. It's overfilled right now, but once I pump the pedal, it should come down just right. And since I made a little mess, the brake fluid is hygroscopic, meaning it absorbs moisture. So I can just wash this off with plain water. I'm just going to kind of do a dump in here. Just clean this stuff up a little bit. Let it drip all over my floor. Put the cover back on. Actually, before I do that, I need to pump this pedal up. Pump the pedal till I got a nice hard pedal. I'm just going to double check this real quick. That level's perfectly on the max. So it's perfect. I'm going to go take this for a test drive, break the pads in. I just got to get it up to 30 miles an hour like 4 or 5 times and hit the brakes from 30 down to 0, and then just do 50 miles an hour and hit the brakes a couple of times, and these pads should be broken really nice, and just so long as it doesn't make any noise, I can ship it. Okay, bye.